Hi, welcome to Melissa's Kitchen. I'm your hostess, Melissa Murray, and this is my wonderful kitchen. Today we're going to be making a easy vegan fried rice. So come on over here and I'll show you the ingredients we're going to need to do that recipe today. So the first thing we're going to need is some extra firm tofu. We're going to need about a cup of that. We're also going to be needing about a cup of long or short grain brown rice. We're going to need about 4 cloves of garlic, about a cup of chopped green onions. We're also going to need half a cup of our green peas and half a cup of our finely diced carrots. For the sauce, we're going to need about 3 tablespoons of tamari or soy sauce, plus maybe a little bit more for garnish. We need about a tablespoon of peanut butter, 2 to 3 tablespoons of organic brown sugar. If you don't have organic, regular brown sugar is fine. We're also going to need some more garlic and 1 to 2 teaspoons. Now they call for chili garlic sauce. I don't have chili garlic sauce, so we're going to use the sweet chili sauce. And optional, we're going to have some peanuts and some sesame seeds for garnish as well today. So those are the ingredients you're going to need. So fairly basic ingredients. First thing we're going to do is we're going to preheat our oven to 400 degrees, which I have already done. And we're going to have a baking sheet, and we're going to line it with some parchment paper to prevent sticking. If you don't have parchment paper, you can definitely just spray your pan with a cooking oil, and that will work as well. So you'll have to excuse me, I do need to use my phone because that's where I have all of my notes. So excuse me if I have to look at that for a moment, but here we go. So we're going to start with our tofu. Now, I don't know how many of you out there have had tofu. If you haven't, I highly recommend trying it. There's lots of different ways you can use tofu, and it does absorb any of the sauces and flavors that you put onto it. It's a really healthy form of protein. So this is probably one of the vegan proteins I probably eat the most is tofu. So it always comes in this type of plastic. Sometimes you can find them, they'll be in boxes, but plastic in the box. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to open this. So again, we're going to be using some of our Tupperware products today. So I might give you a little information of those as we go. Some of these items I will have used in some previous videos as well. So if you're following along on all my videos, you might hear some more information or maybe some of the same information. But either way, it's all good. So this is our Tupperware Chef Series knife. So very sharp, we're going to use that. I'm just going to put a slit here on the side because there is quite a bit of moisture in here. So we're just going to go to our sink and we're just going to try to get some of that moisture. You can see all that water coming out. We're just going to try to get some of that out. So it's really important to try to get as much moisture out of your tofu before you cook it as possible. Now you can use a tofu press. I do not own a tofu press, but a lot of people do, and basically it looks like 2 pieces of wood, and you put the tofu in between them, and then there's some screws that put pressure on the tofu to help squeeze out that moisture. So because I don't have a tofu press, we're going to make our own tofu press. So we're going to take some clean paper towel. You can also use a clean towel, kitchen towel. We're just going to put the tofu in between some clean paper towel, and then you're going to want to put something really heavy on top. So I'm going to use my Tupperware canister. This is the large canister. It has my protein powder in it. But these canisters are amazing because they have the little clear window where you can see if you're running low on whatever product you have in there. They also have a really simple, easy lid that comes off, and you just push the button in the middle. Do you hear that? That means it's sealed. So these are awesome, and you can stack them as well. Now you get a set of 4. This is the largest, and they go down to one about that big. So they're a great item to have. We're just going to take that and set it right on top of our tofu. And then hopefully the weight is going to help get some of that moisture out. You can also put a little more pressure on there if you need to, just to squeeze that moisture out as much as possible. So we're just going to move this over here and set it aside and let that moisture come out. So while that is happening, we're going to get our rice ready. So we need about a cup of our rice. Now I'm going to use a brown rice, but any type of rice would be fine. Brown rice just happens to be a little bit healthier in my opinion. So we need about a cup. And I store my rice in one of our Tupperware modular mates. So this modular mate is called a super oval, and it has this great little pouring spout. So you can see here that keeps everything nice and sealed. Now this, you can see on the bottom, has got a number. So this is the number 2 super oval. There's different sizes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the super oval. And these are great because you can stack them on top of each other, and they give you lots of extra room in your pantry and makes it great and organized so you can see exactly what you have in your pantry without having to try to sort through, you know, containers and bags and things like that. And our modular mates are on sale right now, so make sure you check that out at melissamurray.my.tupperware.ca. So that's our modular mate. So one thing I like to do with my rice is I like to give it just a quick little rinse. So that's going to remove any dust or grain debris or anything that may not be in there. So I'm going to use my Tupperware colander. I love the color. Tupperware has awesome colors on their products. And you'll notice the holes are quite small. So a lot of people will have colanders that sometimes they have a lot larger hole or even slits in it, and sometimes you lose some of your food when you use those. So I'm just going to put my rice in here, and we're just going to rinse it with some water just to remove any debris that might be in there. Okay? So that's about a cup. Now, there is a lot of ways people cook their rice. Some people like to do it on the stove top. Some people have a rice cooker. I'm going to do something different today. I'm going to use a Tupperware pasta maker. Yes, you heard me right. It is called a pasta maker, but you can use it for lots of different things. I have used this to cook the sidekick noodles. I've used it to cook quinoa. I've even used it to cook pasta. But today we're going to put our rice in there and give it a try. So we're just going to put our rice in there. Try to get most of that rice out. So like I said, we have about a cup of our rice. Now that I think about it, I'm actually going to put a little more rice. So this recipe does only call for 1 cup. I'm going to make 2 cups just because then I have some leftovers for the next day when I can do other awesome recipes. So I have almost 2 cups, so we're just going to put that in there and give that a quick little rinse. Okay. Stick that right in there. Now I'm going to do a 2-to-1 ratio, I think, on the water. So the nice thing about the pasta maker, I don't know if you can see, on the side here there's different symbols that show you, it may not show up very well on the video, but there are different symbols there to show you the minimum amount of water and the maximum amount of water that you need. So that's our max line up there. So that max line is going to help us to make sure that nothing boils over. And the min line is going to make sure we have enough liquids in there so we don't burn or wreck our Tupperware container. So we have 2 cups of rice. I'm going to put another 2 cups of water in with it. So for now we're just going to do a 1-to-1 ratio, and we'll see how this works. Now bear with me guys, I've never made rice in the pasta maker. I know it can be done, I know people have done it, I haven't done it yet, so this may not turn out the way we want, but that's okay. So we're going to do that. Now this pasta maker actually goes in the microwave. which I love because it makes cooking super simple. I don't have to watch a pot, I don't have to worry about it boiling over. I put it in the microwave and don't worry about it. So because I've never made rice before, this is going to be kind of a test, so bear with me while we try this. I'm going to leave it uncovered, and I'm just going to stick it in our microwave, and I'm just going to put, let's say, 12 minutes on it to start. And in 12 minutes we're going to check it and see how it's doing. Because I've never made rice before in my pasta maker, so we'll see what happens. So we have our rice going, we have our tofu. You can see the liquid is starting to come through. See how much liquid has already come out there on that tofu? So the press is working. We're just going to leave it on there for another second while I confer with my recipe. Okay. So we're going to, just going to move my carrots off of my cutting board for now. And we're going to get into that tofu here. Okay, so you can see quite a bit of liquid has already come off that tofu. So if you want, you can just turn your paper over and give it just another little press there to get out any extra moisture. Now obviously we're not going to get rid of all the moisture in the tofu, but that's okay. Alright, now we're going to cut our tofu into, I believe, about 1/4 inch cubes. But it's up to you. If some people like their tofu cut bigger, some people like it cut smaller. It's completely up to you. So I think I'm just going to, for myself, tofu cuts really easy, especially with our Chef Series knife, which is super sharp. So we're just going to do this for now. I've cut off about 4 pieces. Now I'm going to cut this in half again. Okay. And I'm going to cut these probably 1, 2, 4. So I kind of have little cubes of tofu. Are those 1/4 inch? I don't know, but we'll say they're close enough. So we want about a cup, okay? So to me that looks about a cup. If you really want to make sure, you can grab your Tupperware measuring cup and just give it a try. So that's about 1 heaping cup, I would say. So right there works for me. If you like extra tofu, add in extra tofu. This is your recipe too, so whatever you want to do. So we've got our tofu. I'm just going to do a quick little check here to make sure that we're doing this right. Okay, so now we're going to arrange our tofu on our parchment paper on our baking sheet, and we're going to bake it. Now, I really like my tofu crispy, so we're going to bake it for about 30 minutes at 400 degrees. If you like your tofu a little on the softer side, I would maybe do about 25 minutes and check it then and see how it's going. But if you like it really crispy, I'd say about 30 minutes is probably a good set of time. So let's do that. We're just going to put our tofu on here. Just arrange it so they're not touching. It doesn't have to be perfect. As long as they're not touching, that's all we really care about, because you want them to get nice and cooked evenly. Okay, so there we go. We've got our tofu on there. So about 30 minutes into a 400-degree oven. So we're going to throw that in there. Put 30 minutes on our timer. Ooh, 52. That's too much. Okay, 30 minutes. Try to do it the quick way and it didn't work, but that's okay. So we got 30 minutes on there. So we've got our tofu cooking for 30 minutes. We have our rice cooking. Still got about 8 minutes on that, so we'll check that. So now what we can do is we're going to prepare our sauce. Okay? So I'm going to move, this is extra tofu, but I definitely will use that for another recipe. I'm just going to move that out of the way. We're going to need a bowl. And we're going to make our sauce. Okay. 1 second, guys. Okay. So this is called a vatsa bowl. They come in many different sizes. I honestly don't know what size this is. It's a 12 cup. So I think it might be a medium, maybe. It might even be smaller than that. There's lots of sizes. These bowls are amazing. They have a nice little handle here, so if you're mixing, you have something to hang on to. They're great for kids helping you in the kitchen too, because it gives them something to hang on to. It makes it a lot easier. Or if your husband really wants to help you in the kitchen, you need something to make it really easy for them. Let's face it, right? So these are great bowls to have. Lots of awesome colors too, which I absolutely love. So we're gonna start with some soy sauce. I'm using a dark soy sauce today, but whatever you want to use, low sodium, light, dark, it's up to you. We're going to do about 3 tablespoons of our soy sauce, which apparently is going everywhere today, but that's okay. So we have our Tupperware measuring spoon. We're going to put 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, which is really slow, but that's okay. So there's 1, 2, and 3. All right, so we've got that. Whew. Okay. You want about a tablespoon of peanut butter. I'm just going to get my measuring spoon a rinse here. Get rid of some of that soy sauce. Okay. And I'm using the Adams Natural 100% peanut butter. Please look at your peanut butter, because I bet most of you have things in your cupboard like Jif peanut butter, which, by the way, my husband eats. Okay, this stuff is horrible for you. Have you ever looked at the ingredients on peanut butter? Let's do a quick comparison, shall we? My husband's Jif peanut butter. These are the ingredients: roasted peanuts, so that's good. Second ingredient is sugar, so we all know that's bad for you. Peanut oil, hydrogenated vegetable oil, salt, mono and diglycerides, cooking molasses, and vegetable oil. My husband is looking in on the camera because he doesn't like that I'm telling him his peanut butter is horrible, but it is. That's everything in this jar. There's about 6 ingredients too many for me in this jar of peanut butter. I agree, it definitely spreads way easier than natural peanut butter, but that is not healthy. Let's look at my natural peanut butter. What do we have in here for ingredients? We have peanuts. That's the ingredients on my natural peanut butter. So obviously this is probably a better choice if you're really worried about being healthy. So please look at your ingredients on your food. That's my rant for today, you guys, is peanut butter. Make sure you're eating the good stuff, okay? We're going to want about a tablespoon of this peanut butter. So I'm just going to go in here and take out about a tablespoon. This is a little heaping tablespoon, but that's okay. I also should have my spatula, just to help get that peanut butter out. Okay. So there's our peanut butter. I'm going to put my husband's away. Horrible stuff. That's okay. Okay, so we've got 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of natural peanut butter, stuff that's good for you. We want 2 to 3 tablespoons of organic brown sugar. So again, I'm just going to clean my measuring spoon. Clean tea towel there just to get rid of that moisture before I put it into my brown sugar. I also like to have my brown sugar in a modular mate as well. This is our square modular mate. Probably one of my favorite shapes are the squares or the rectangles. So the nice thing about this is they're airtight. You don't have to worry about your brown sugar going hard in these containers. They're amazing. So you're going to take your brown sugar and let me grab a spoon here. You're going to want to pack brown sugar. For those of you who don't cook that often or aren't in the kitchen that much, anytime you measure brown sugar, you want to pack it down, okay? So I think I said 2 to 3 tablespoons, so that's 1 tablespoon. I'm going to put 3 tablespoons just because I feel like with that much soy sauce, I'm going to need the extra tablespoon just to even out the saltiness of the soy sauce. So I've got my 3 tablespoons of organic brown sugar. And get rid of, oh, let's only that one. Get rid of this one I don't need. And we're going to need 1 clove of garlic minced. Now I already bought the minced garlic, but we do have an awesome garlic mincer from Tupperware. So if you like buying the whole cloves, that's definitely an awesome tool to have as well. But for today, we're just going to use what I have. So 1 clove, so I'm going to put in about a teaspoon. If you like garlic, add a little extra. I'm not judging, so put that there. And 1 to 2 teaspoons of our, I'm going to use sweet chili sauce today. So we're going to put in 2 teaspoons. 1 and maybe 2.5. So like I said, no judging in the kitchen, right? It's all to taste. So if you like something sweeter, make it a little sweeter. If you like it saltier, that's up to you. So you're cooking for yourself. Today I'm cooking for me, but when you're cooking for yourself, you make it the way you like it. Okay, so we've got the garlic in there, we've got that in there. Optional, if you want to add in some sesame oil, you can. I think I will today. So I happen to have it in my cupboard, so we might as well use it. So they say about a teaspoon of toasted sesame oil. You can also use peanut oil or grapeseed oil. So if you happen to have a different one, you can use that as well. So we're going to put about a teaspoon of our sesame oil in there. Okay. Ooh, and our rice is ready. So let's give this a quick mix and then we will check on our rice. So we're just going to mix this up. Now this, of course, is a Tupperware whisk. The nice thing about this Tupperware whisk is it's plastic, so it's not going to scratch anything. Now, it may take a minute to get it all mixed together because the peanut butter I'm using is the natural peanut butter. So sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get it smooth. It doesn't have all that extra hydrogenated oil and fat that, you know, the Jif peanut butter has. So sometimes it takes just a little extra muscle, but I guarantee you it's going to taste way better. So, you got it nice and smooth in there. See that? No more lumps. All the brown sugar is incorporated. I know it looks like a big black molasses right now, but trust me, it's going to flavor the tofu and it's going to be amazing. Okay, so let's set that aside. Now let's check on our rice. Now, like I said, don't judge me. I've never done rice before in my pasta maker, so this may not turn out. But we had it in there for 12 minutes, okay? So let's just see how it's doing. Ooh! So can you get a close-up of that there, you guys? That is so far my rice. So that was 12 minutes. Look at that. There's very little liquid left. It looks fluffy. So I'm just going to give a quick little taste test and see if it's cooked enough, okay? It needs a little longer. So I'm going to add a little bit more liquid in there because there's not a lot in there. Okay, so let's put about maybe another cup of liquid. Maybe another, we'll put a cup and a half. We'll put a cup and a half of liquid. And again, depending on how you like your rice. Some people like it cooked so it's a little al dente. Some people like it cooked soft. It's up to you. So I'm going to add more liquid. So I think going forward next time, we're going to do 2-to-1 ratio. But for now, we're gonna do that. We're gonna stick it in there for another, let's put 10 minutes on it this time. I don't think that's gonna be quite enough time, but we're gonna try 10 minutes and see what happens. Okay. Actually, really good rice so far. It's a little bit undercooked, but it's really, I'm surprised how fluffy it is. So anyway, that's with our pasta maker, guys. Who would have thought? Pasta maker, you could do rice in it. Anyway, super easy and quick. Okay, so that's all good. Now, let's see where we're at. We've got everything done here. Yeah. Okay, so we're in pretty good shape. We've got our sauce made. We've got our tofu baking. We still have 18 minutes on our tofu. And we've got our rice back in here for another 10 minutes or so. So that's good. I think at this point, we're going to take a quick little commercial break. And we're going to come back, and then once our rice and tofu is done, we're going to go on to the next step and pull it all together. So yeah, go grab yourself a coffee, and we'll see you soon. Welcome back, everybody. So our rice has beefed. We're going to check our rice and see if it's done. So let's have a quick peek here. Wow. Come on over and check out the rice. So as you can see, it looks like it's done. There's very little liquid. See that? All that liquid right in the bottom has all been absorbed into our rice. It's nice and fluffy. So there you go, guys. That rice was made in the Tupperware pasta maker. And so we had put, the correct recipe would be 2 cups of rice, and it would have been 4 cups of water, 2-to-1 ratio on that. And we ended up cooking it for a total time of 22 minutes in the microwave. So we didn't have to worry about our pot boiling over or anything like that. So our rice is done. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the lid on top, and that's just going to help to steam that rice a little bit longer, just in case it needs a little bit more time. So it's just going to steam in there. Now our tofu is also done here. So we're going to take it out of the oven and see if it's nice and brown. All right. Oh, you can hear it. Can you hear that? I don't know if you can or not. So you can see it's all brown around the edges. It looks crispy, which is what we were going for, so that's great. So don't forget our marinade that we made. So we're going to just take our tofu right out of the oven, and we're going to put it right in that marinade. Now the nice thing about these vegetables is they come with a liquid tight seal. So normally when you have your marinade, you are going to want to spoon it around and stir it around, but we're just going to put our lid on, make sure it's on snug, and we're going to shake it. So that is going to get our tofu nice and coated. We also have a few other products. One is the shake and marinate set, which I could have also used today, but I just wanted to use the bowl just because I have a small amount of products in here. So let's just take a quick peek. You can see it's all nice and coated in there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to let that marinate for 5 minutes. Okay, so we have our tofu that has been marinating for 5 minutes. Now, if you are an organized person and like to plan ahead, you can definitely make the sauce and tofu the day before and actually marinate it overnight in the fridge. That's actually going to put probably a lot more flavor into your tofu. But I did not plan ahead because I was not organized this time, which is okay. So we did marinate it for 5 minutes. Now we just have a pan here on the stove over medium heat. We're going to spoon our tofu into a nice hot pan with a slotted spoon. We want to try to get most of that marinade or sauce off the tofu, just so we can get the tofu in there. You can hear it sizzling, going into a nice hot pan. And we're going to just cook it in this pan for about 3 to 4 minutes, give or take, just to help get it brown again now that we have that marinade on there. Okay, so want to put a timer on just to help us there. Now, if you find the tofu is getting too brown too quickly, just turn your heat down. Everyone's stove is a little different, so just gonna see, you can see there, very little sauce here. I tried to keep most of it in the bowl. I'm just going to let that caramelize a little bit. You can kind of see there what's happening. And while that's caramelizing, we just want to make sure that we have the next ingredients ready, because the next step is going to be our vegetables. So while we've got that going there, you can see it's starting to caramelize. We only have a few minutes here for that to caramelize. I'm going to turn my heat down just a little because it is browning quite quickly on some of those pieces. So the next step is what we're going to need is those 4 cloves of garlic, 1 cup of green onions, half a cup of finely diced carrots, and also half a cup of peas. Now again, you can put other vegetables in there if you want. If you want maybe some edamame might be really nice in there. You want to put some celery, whatever you have in your fridge or any vegetables you like. Okay, so that's only been a couple minutes, but my tofu looks fairly well caramelized, so we're just going to take that off the heat. And we're just going to put it aside here in another bowl. So I'm using a smaller that's a bowl, just to put that aside. I'm just going to rinse my spatula here. Okay, so while our pan is still hot, we're going to add in the 4 cloves of garlic. So because I have it minced already here, I'm going to put probably 2 teaspoons of garlic. Again, you can put more or less. We've got our diced carrots and our green onion. Now, I didn't have quite enough green onion because that's one thing I forgot to get more of, but that's fine. Use what you have. You can keep a little bit of green onion aside for garnish if you want to. Just going to put a couple minutes on this. And then we also want half a cup of our peas, which apparently I'll do here. So these peas are frozen, but that's fine because with the heat here, they're going to defrost and cook. Whoops, runaway green onions, that's okay. So we're just going to let that mix in there and let that all come together. Now I keep my peas in my freezer containers from Tupperware. So these are made specifically for the freezer, so they're not going to crack. A lot of times Tupperware, if it's not freezer safe and you put it in your freezer, they are going to crack. These are specifically made not to. These also come in a lot of great sizes. And I'm just going to show you, I get the lid on here, my freezer. So come on over here and I'll show you my freezer. So as you can see, I have quite a few freezer mates, and there's lots of different sizes. They do stack really nice, and you can see how much I actually have in there. My freezer is fairly well organized. You can see in there, sorry, some of my labels are coming off. I didn't have the right tape, so I had to improvise at the time. But there's way more space. If you open your freezer, I'm sure it's just a lot of bags and boxes and packages, and it can be really difficult to fit more in. But with our freezer containers, it definitely is going to help you with the space in your freezer. So that's our freezer. So those containers are great to have around. We're going to come back here and stir in our vegetables. Now they're getting nice and soft, and that was another reason we wanted to keep those carrots fairly small, just so they'll cook quicker. Now we're going to put in oh, there we go. So they've been cooking for just about the right amount of time. we're going to put in a little bit more soy sauce. They called for another tablespoon, but it's a little too much sodium for me. So I'm just going to put about a teaspoon of soy sauce on there, which is about right for me. But again, if you like your sodium, you can definitely put a tablespoon. All right. So we've got our vegetables almost tender. We're done with this. So now we're going to add our rice into here. So don't forget, I made extra rice because I wanted some for the next few days for some recipes. So it called for about a cup of uncooked rice, which is about, where did my thing go here? Which is about 2 cups of cooked rice. So we're going to use our measuring cup, and again, just a rough estimate here. Add in about 2 cups of your rice. And we're going to go back here and we're going to add in our tofu as well. We're going to give that a bit of a stir. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to the sauce that we had that tofu in. And as you can tell, there's still quite a bit of sauce here. So we're going to also add in the remaining sauce. Just pour it over. You can use all of it if you just want a little bit, whatever your heart desires. I'm a sauce person, so I want to use as much as I got. We're just going to give that another stir. Get all those rice granules coated. And we're just going to let that cook just a little bit longer here. I'm going to turn it back up to that medium heat. It smells so good, guys. That garlic, oh, so good. I cannot wait to try this. I have been waiting all day to try this recipe. And the next time I make this recipe, I think I might actually put in some more tofu, just because I do like tofu. And I think having a little extra tofu in there is going to be really tasty. But you can see here, got it all nice, all coming together. Everything's coated well. You can tell that tofu is crispy. So let's just give that a few minutes here. And while that's doing that thing, we're going to get our garnishes ready. So for me, I did keep a little bit of green onion aside. So I'm just going to clean up here a little bit, guys. All right, a little bit of green onion aside. I also am going to put a little bit of sesame seeds on top, because don't forget we used that sesame oil earlier, so that's going to be really nice. And I like peanuts in a lot of Asian dishes. A lot of Asian dishes do call for peanuts, and I think it's just a really nice little salty touch to add on top. So we are going to just cut up some peanuts. Now, if you saw my first video, you saw the Power Chef, which was a larger version of this. This is our smaller chop and prep. So what we're going to do, I've got some peanuts in there. That's all I have in there is some peanuts. And we're just going to pull. You can see, every time this happens to me, but that's okay. So, oh, my lid, that's why. All right. So we're just going to pull. There we go. And it's just going to cut up my peanuts. The more pulls that I do, the finer it's going to get. You can see how it's all getting nice and cut up there. So we got our peanuts on top. There we go. All right, you can see my peanuts exactly how I want them, which is good. This is rice is done. We're going to turn our heat off. All right, and let's come in here, and we're going to do some plating. So let's get our rice in there, all those vegetables, our tofu. Oh, that sauce smells so good, guys. Look at that. Now you can eat this as a side dish, you can have this as a main course, whatever you want. It has that tofu in there, which is nice, so you do have your protein and your vegetables and your grains. Everything is in one dish. And we're just going to put some sesame seeds on top, garnish with some peanuts, and voila, our final product, easy vegan fried rice. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I had an awesome time. Please feel free to leave me some comments. I love to hear comments and hear what all of my viewers think of my videos. So thanks again, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching. For more information about healthy recipes or Tupperware products, please email me at tupperware.by.melissamurray@gmail.com or visit my website, melissamurray.my.tupperware.ca. Thanks for watching. See you next time.